the idea that joy is a choice. And you can take that first of all on the surface level, which is choosing to experience it, choosing to open yourself to it, but more than that, choosing to look for it. This idea that, no situation is any one thing. There are many, many perspectives you can take on it, and you choose your perspective. You really do. It's an actual choice that you make. I'm going to look at it this way. I'm going to look at it from lack or anger or feeling left out, or I'm going to look at it from my self-defining story and just confirm who I am. Or you can say, I'm going to look at it differently. I'm going to look at this situation that maybe it isn't a bad thing, how I could be choosing this, how reality is reflecting something to me, how this situation contains a message for me, and I'm going to choose to look for that rather than feel the victim or put upon or whatever it is. So the level at which that's a choice, to choose the perspective that you take, to choose where you're coming from. Joy is actually just a natural state, and if you just allow who you are, it will come through. But I think the reason the experience often isn't quite like that is because there's such a societal program, there's our conditioning as kids, everything we're brought up with. So there is an element which, even though it's naturally available, meaning you don't have to really go out and hunt for it, it's just there, you do have to break out of a certain level of conditioning and then you discover it's available, which is the whole thing of ease. You don't have to work for it. You just have to, it's almost like you just have to wake up to it. And that is a choice. And it will come through actual choices that you make. It's amazing how we can talk ourselves out of things that are new or different or outside the box, outside our comfort zone, outside our pattern. So making the choice to step outside your pattern, look anew, choose anew, open yourself to, I don't quite know why, but instead of analysing everything with your mind, feeling into it, feel the situation, feel the choice, feel the different options, and which of them feels best. And sometimes it might not be the one that your mind's pointing at, because Lee and I talk a lot about not demonizing the mind. I think there's a lot of spirituality out there that really goes against the mind, and I don't agree with that. I think the mind is a wonderful thing, but it is the place also where your traps and patterns most occur. So it's looking at situations and feeling them instead of taking that, whatever it is, that belief that comes from the inner voice that says, don't do that, that'll happen. Last time you did that, that happened. Letting go of that. And feeling from your heart, what do I want to do? Which of these options feels best to me? And despite what the mind says, going with that choice. And that for me is all about unfolding joy in your life and choosing joy. Because when you choose from your heart, you will choose joy. And your heart can also choose lessons for you. But even in that, it's then seeing the joy in that. If you make a choice that frees you from something, even if it's slightly traumatic at the time, the overall viewpoint on it is joy. It's just this magic that begins to occur when you step into this flow, this synchronicity. But as I say, it's all from a choice, and you're the only person that can make that. So, I'd like to reiterate what the channel said about this month. First of all, making the choice for it to be different, a choice for something new to happen, a choice for something surprising to happen. So taking this whole thing of making different choices to choose joy, to look for that in your life, in the creation of boundaries, the boundary of yourself, which is coming to know who you are and choose who you are consciously. I think one of the biggest factors here that plays in for people is really the courage to stand alone. Because in that moment, that's what it feels like. In that moment where you make a choice that's different from the people around you, you are in a way standing alone. And I think that's the thing that keeps us most out of joy, which is when we're looking to be in that consensus, in that, well, everyone else is choosing this, so that's okay. And I think that's, I think that's a stage when you're growing up, where you look for that, you look for the uniformity, you look for that, just knowing that you're safe because you're with what everyone else is choosing. And a lot of what we're talking about, making those choices initially can feel like making the choice to be alone, to be separate from the people around you. But on the other side of that is then opening up to new people entering your life, different situations, discovering new things where you then connect. Because the point is you're always attracting to you what you're radiating. So it's that kind of getting off one bus to get on another. You can't just sit on the one bus hoping that this other one's magically going to drive up and you can jump across. You have to get off, stand alone for a while and wait for the next bus. And that's when you start meeting people that think as you do and choose as you do, because you've made that choice to choose differently, to choose whatever it is, freedom, joy. And you'll then start attracting to you those people that are also making that choice. But in that intermediary time, it's that courage to stand alone in your beliefs. That's where you can really step into this choice for joy, because it is separate, it is different from most people around. So I suggest that again for this month, looking at the courage to stand alone against the idea of your choices and see if feeding that in helps you make and see a clearer choice. I really think the only level of service is to your joy, and that's if you want to be joyful. If you don't want to be joyful, you can be in service to something else. I found being your own joy is probably the best one. And it's not until you step into it and choose it that you really start to see how it positively impacts everyone else. You know, it's the kind of resolution of that paradox of selfish and selfless. It's realizing that it's not a line, that, you know, they actually come together and meet. Selfless and selfish are actually the same point. And if you want to get metaphysical about it, it's ultimately stepping into the realization of we're all one. We all birth from the same source, we all are extensions of the same source. So you working on your joy is working on source joy, which is working on birthing joy in this reality, in this form. So it really is the highest service.